Hello there, it's me, Sari here again, and today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about shrink plastic and what you can do with it really. I have started out stamping, in this case a Swedish stamp that says something about you should honor Christmas by being in a good mood all year round. And after having cut it into a circle and shrunk it down, you can see that it sort of becomes the quarter of its size. So it shrinks 75% actually. And the thing you should know about shrink plastic is that sometimes you don't really end up with a perfect square or circle or shape. But since I'm trying to follow Tim Holtz's quote, embrace imperfections, that's why I'm just deciding on they should look like this, and that's the way I should go. So in this case I have done a little bit of shrinking this morning. I'm using my heat tool to shrink them up, or shrink them down I should say. And after having shrunken all of these in just one go, I must tell you that it got really hot in this room, so I really didn't have the need to go to the sauna today, or sauna in Finnish, bastu in Swedish. Here I've got some English sayings, and these are mostly out of the stamps that I have made. I haven't made the cameras nor the long stamps down here that has to say something about cameras, that life is like a camera, just focus on what's important, capture the good times, develop from the negatives, and if things don't work out, I'm sorry, and if things don't work out, just take another shot. Just go for it really. I want to point out one thing. I mean, when you have a text and you have it on a see-through plastic, you can't really put this in this direction on a card, can you? So you just have to be aware of on which side you do your stamping. I stamp with my Stays On ink, Stays On dries really quickly on plastic, and this one is for every surface really, so this is a good ink pack to have in your stash. You could also stamp with several colors of Stays On. In that case you would end up with some really funky looking shrink plastic charms. The thing that I was talking about is that when you have stamped a text, you of course have to pay attention to which direction you are going to fasten it on your craft project. But when you have a camera or some kind of a image that you can twist and turn around, well, go right ahead and do so. In this case you have cameras that go in either direction really. You could also, if you wanted to highlight the camera even more, you could just glue this one down on a piece of white paper, cut it out to size, and really make sure you get everything out so you have nothing white sticking outside. And in that case you're actually going to be able to highlight your motif even more. But then of course there are different colors of shrink plastic. I have only got my hands on some white. Sometimes I feel that the white doesn't shrink as well as the others, or let me say, perhaps it doesn't do its job as well as the others. But in this case I can't really complain about the results that I have gotten. Here I have die cut or punched out a big speech bubble, which was sort of, let me say, 7 centimeters, and now it has shrunken down to this really cute one. And in this batch I've got some Finnish quotes. Nyt on aikaa nauttia elämästä. Now is the time to enjoy life. Here is something about Merry Christmas, but in Finnish it's called Hyvää joulua. And then I've got something here that says that even a trip or journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. 1000 kilometrin matka alkaa yhdestä askelesta. Anteeksi. So I thought that I would go ahead and show you how I do my shrinking. I must warn you that I might have to struggle with this for a little bit. I'm not sure, you never know, because shrink plastic isn't the easiest thing to work with. So I have chosen to stamp up quite a few of these images while I'm at it, you see. And in this case I have just stamped this image which says öppnas ej förrän på julafton. Do not open until Christmas Eve. In Sweden we celebrate Christmas on the Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. And what I have done, I have just cut it to size, made it into sort of a tag, and I've also put a hole in it. And for making the holes I'm actually using my crop-a-dile. This is the second version, and I'm using the biggest hole on this one. This one is a 3/16 of an inch hole. So let's get started. You might need a pair of scissors and an acrylic block or something that you can flatten out the item with. I also must warn you that since the heat is going to build up, the picture or the images might not end up as I'm used to. So just bear in mind that it could be a little bit shaky or dizzy or whatever it could be. Let's see. This one has now cooled down, so it will take a little bit of time before it gets going really quickly and nicely, and I do have quite a few shrink plastic bits here to just practice on. So let's just hold your fingers crossed and wish me luck. So this is what I experienced with the long text, with the camera text as well. But as you can see, it does a pretty good job of expanding and closing in on itself. And you might actually turn it over to let it... I should advise you not to touch it, because it's going to be hot. But you can actually try to turn it over in order to get rid of the bumps and such. And now what I do is that I'm using this acrylic block just to flatten it out and sort of loosen it from the surface. And it is hot, but I can still have it in my hands, and I'm pretty sensitive, so I'm not going to hold it for long, I'm telling you, but it's going to cool off rather quickly. So this is a really nice size for a decoration that you can have on your cards. So it doesn't have to take over the complete card, that's my point here. So let's see if I can make this one work. I mean, different kinds of shapes can give you different kinds of challenges, of course. Let's get started. You might, of course, even bake these in the oven. You could actually use 130 centigrades, and you will see that the plastic is going to shrink up like this, and it's going to open itself if you are in luck. I do feel that I'm more in control with this embossing tool and a pair of scissors, because sometimes when the plastic is actually shrunken into like this and it's sticking on to each other, I'm just putting the scissors in and I'm opening up the scissors, and that makes the plastic sort of to open as well, so I have a chance of actually rescuing it. Let's see if I can make another one. And I'm just using the scissors to guide it so it doesn't fly away or stick to itself. And sometimes it might get a little bit bumpy, so that's why I'm just turning it over to give it a chance of actually smoothing itself out. And in this case I'm using a Finnish stamp. Onni on perjantai, tunnelma maanantai aamuna. Say that a couple of times in a row if you want to. Luck or happiness is having a Friday feeling on a Monday morning, and I think that's rather cute. Let's see, do you want to see another one? Here is something that said heartfelt congratulations. And I'm just going to flip it over to get rid of that bump there. And I'm going to flatten it out. So I'm sure you get the principle. And just let your imagination run free. I mean, I have done quite a few videos of shrink plastic tutorials before, and I have shrunken figures from the greeting farm, for example, and different things, and I have also colored them in with some Copic pens. In that case, you have to think about, if you are going to do some coloring with, let's say, Copic pens or some kind of an permanent pen, you have so much easier to make the color stuck or stick to the rugged surface rather than the slick surface. So in that case, if you're going to do your stamping on the slick surface, you really have to pay attention to how you are going to use the stamp, because this is going to be so much more slipperier. And so just pay attention to just put it there and lift it up instead of just wiggling at everything. Just lift it up, straight up. And I'm hoping that will help you get it in place. Do I have another one that I would like to try out? Well, let's see. Here's an English stamp wishing you a magical Christmas. This one might give me a hard time, so you might actually luck out on seeing me struggling with this, but no, it actually did know its way to go. And at times you might even think that this is going to be rather fun looking when it is warped like this, but because it could actually give it some kind of texture to your project. But I'm going to turn it over and try to flatten it out as good as I can, or as well as I can. And just flatten it out like that. So, wishing you a magical Christmas. So I do like this possibility of actually using your stamps in two ways. You can have it in a regular size, but you can also have it in a smaller size. So this one says that when you stop believing in Santa or Father Christmas, you will get stocks or socks for Christmas gift. And when it comes to shrink plastic, I have actually experienced that some of them aren't as good as the others. I, for one, do order my big packs of shrink plastic from slöjd-detaljer here in Sweden. They come in a pack of 25 actually, 20 clear sheets and 5 white sheets. I haven't actually had the chance of getting any other colors here in Sweden. If you have any tips for me, please don't hesitate to give me a couple of tips and pointers, because I do like to get my hands on different colors. Just imagine orange and everything. So let's see. I'm going to make the final one here. And as you can see, I did cut the hole there with my crop-a-dile without any fuss. It doesn't make any sounds or noise, and it's really easy on the hands. And now, you almost had me there, didn't you? You almost had me there, but I mean, I'm in a pretty good place doing this shrink plastic thing today, because it does. Just one of the other batch did give me a hard time, so I must say that this shrink plastic is rather good. So if you have the chance to go there, slöjd-detaljer is the place to go. And I'm going to put the link in the description box. Of course I will. So I thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.